Happy Sukkot, dear friends. I want to share with you a beautiful and deep analogy by the Dubno Maggid. He says like this: there was once a king, and this king had a daughter, and he loved this daughter more than anything in the world. All he wanted was for her to find a suitable match. Wouldn't you know it, they do a little research, they find a guy, he's also the son of a king from another country far away. It's perfect. They hit it off, they get married. After the wedding, the groom tells the bride, I think we're going to have to leave. We can't live here anymore. I want us to go and move to my kingdom far away. So the bride agrees, and she says goodbye to her father, and they move to his kingdom. But when they get there, she's in for the surprise of a lifetime. Turns out, he was fabricating the whole story. This guy that she married was not the son of a king. He was the son of average people. And not only that, in reality, he was not a royal person. He was far from it. He was a terrible, unrefined, bad person. He treated her terribly. He was just gross in everything he did. And she was terribly miserable for the entire first year of their marriage. At the end of the year, they get a letter in the mail, and it's from her father, the king. And the king said, I am coming to visit you in a couple of days. Be prepared for me. So the husband reads the letter and he says, oh my gosh, I got to go totally change my life. So he goes and he puts on a whole show. He changes his house and he works on becoming more refined and more elegant. So then when the king comes, he walks into their house and it looks beautiful and elegant and luxurious. And he's sitting there in a refined way. He's eating in a different way than his wife had seen the entire time. But the king's daughter just smiling and nodding the whole time. She doesn't want to say anything, but she knows that this guy, her husband's putting on a show just for her father. And her father's there for a few days, and then he leaves, pleased with how his daughter is doing, married to such a great guy. But as the father's royal carriage is leaving, the daughter runs out after her father, and she says, Daddy, wait 1 second. I have to tell you something. And she's crying. She just can't hold it in anymore. And she says, Daddy, you don't understand. He's faking it. He's not the son of a king. He's a total loser. He's a terrible guy. He's putting on a show just because you're here. And the dad, the king, looks at his daughter, and he says, Sweetie, you have to stay together with him. It's best for you. But you know what? I'm going to make your life better. And he goes back in and he says to the husband, I want you to come live in my palace. Because in that way, when you're living in my palace, I know that you'll treat my daughter exactly how she deserves to be treated. And that's what they do. The husband and the wife, the bride and the groom, move in to the father, to the king's palace. So my dear friends, the body and the soul, the daughter, the soul, gets put in and gets matched up with the body. And the body promises it's going to be an amazing life. You're going to be married to a king. You're going to enjoy every moment. But then when the soul meets the body and experiences all of that, it realizes it's not all that it's cracked up to be. So the body fakes the soul out, and the whole time the soul is miserable. But then the king says, Hashem, God says, I'm coming home. That's what the month of Elul, prior to Rosh Hashanah. And then the king comes and visits in their home, the body and the soul. The king comes and says, okay, how are you doing? And the soul puts on a whole show for the body. And Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the soul is faking it. And the body knows the soul is faking it. The soul is going to go right back to what it was the moment that the king leaves after Yom Kippur. And then right at the end of Yom Kippur, you know why we cry sometimes during the Eilah, during that final prayer on Yom Kippur? Because the soul knows that Dad is leaving, the king is leaving. It's going to be going back to what it was. I don't want to go back to what it was. The body's going to treat me terribly. So then God says, you know what? My sweet daughter, my beautiful neshama, my beautiful soul, you are meant to be with the body. But I'm going to invite you and the body, the soul and the body, the daughter and her groom. I'm going to invite you to live with me. And that's why, my friends, we go to Sukkot. We go to Sukkot. We go build our sukkahs outside, and we live in the king's house. The sukkah is called, in the words of the Kabbalists, Sila de Mehamnusa, the shade of faith. It's like we're literally walking into God's house for 7 days. That's where we're living now, starting tomorrow night. And we're living in the king's palace. And you know what the message is? The message is when you're living in the king's palace, the body is not our enemy. The body is our friend. The body is our match. It's a perfect match for our souls. We're not meant to just be souls here on this earth. We're meant to be souls together with bodies, but using the body in a way that it knows it's in front of the king, it's in front of the God. So Sukkot is such a physical holiday. We shake a lulav, and we have an etrog. We have our hadassim and our avot. We build a sukkah. If you see Home Depot right now, it's filled with Orthodox Jews building their sukkahs. right? It's a very physical holiday. We eat and we drink and we do everything, but we do it all in the king's palace. And when we're in the king's palace, the body and the soul, the bride and the groom live in the way that they're meant to be, in a most refined, beautiful, uplifting, elegant, luxurious way. And that's the joy of Sukkot. I wish you all a Chag Sameach, a happy and joyous holiday.